What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, December 27th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 22:28 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I hope you guys are having very happy holidays. Wanted to wish all my subscribers a happy Hanukkah, and hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. So Russia is preparing to carry out a large missile attack on New Year's Eve and another attack 7 to 10 days after the New Year, according to Ukrainian intelligence. Now, what's interesting is just about 30 minutes ago, on one of the Russian nuclear war frequencies, this strange missile alarm was being broadcasted. So let me play it for you. So this is the same frequency that's been broadcasting the Stalingrad clock, and now they're broadcasting this klaxon alarm. So that's pretty creepy. I don't know if they're planning to launch another Oreshnik, and this is their way of trolling us. Also today we had another Houthi missile launched at Israel. Here we have some sirens, air raid sirens going off in Jerusalem. So guys, during Hanukkah, the Houthis are launching ballistic missiles at Israel. Apparently, this missile was intercepted by the U.S. THAAD system, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, and apparently this is the first time that THAAD was used in a combat situation. So, very serious situation there between the Houthis and Israel. It looks like the Houthis are not stopping, and Israel is planning more strikes on Yemen. And Slovakia will consider halting electricity supplies to Ukraine. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is EMP Shield. Guys, I'm proud to announce that I'm going to be partnering with EMP Shield. They have just given me a special discount code just for my subscribers. If you go to empshield.com and use the code NYPrepper when you check out, you'll get 15% off your entire order. Good for anything on their website. They're also doing a Cyber Monday sale. Guys, the threat of an EMP has never been higher, and you need to protect your vehicle and critical electronics. The EMP Shield is a device that protects your vehicle's computer or electronics by installing in line with the electrical system. The EMP Shield has passed rigorous military testing and is compliant with several military standards. They're also IP66 weatherproof and made in the USA. They can be used to protect your ham radio base stations, your RV, your camper, your solar generator, and various other things in addition to your vehicle. So go to empshield.com, use the discount code NYPrepper to get 15% off, and the link and the discount code are in the description below this video. And we know that Israel and Iran are planning to strike each other again soon. We know that Israel was talking about launching massive strikes on Iran to stop the Houthis after the last missile attack, which actually was not intercepted and hit some residential building. Okay, the head of Mossad and some of the Israeli generals were calling for a massive strike on Iran. And Iran said recently that they could potentially launch a preemptive strike on Israel before Israel strikes them. So that situation is not going away. And Slovakia will consider halting electricity supplies to Ukraine if Ukraine stops the transit of Russian gas to Slovakia. This was reported by Reuters. And the H5N1 bird flu virus from the seriously ill case in Louisiana shows it was developing mutations that could help it spread more easily in humans, according to the CDC. So here's the actual CDC website. It says here the CDC has sequenced the influenza viruses in specimens collected from the patient in Louisiana who was infected with and became severely ill with the H5N1 virus. The genomic sequences were compared to other H5N1 sequences from dairy cows, wild birds, and poultry, as well as previous human cases, and were identified as the D1.1 genotype. The analysis identified low-frequency mutations in the hemagglutinin gene of a sample sequenced from the patient, which were not found in virus sequences from poultry samples collected on the patient's property, suggesting these changes emerged in the patient after infection. So this is not good. The H5N1 is now mutating. Okay, so this could be the next pandemic. And the Russian tanker ship that was seized by the Finnish Coast Guard yesterday after it was suspected of cutting another undersea cable connecting Finland to Estonia was apparently carrying spy equipment. According to the British magazine Lloyd's List, the ship had been turned into a spy ship. Sources told the newspaper that the Eagle S was full of interception equipment to intercept NATO's sea and air traffic, and that the devices required so much power that they caused blackouts on board the ship. Investigative measures have been taken on the ship, and among other things, material has been collected, the analysis of which has begun. The investigation has also focused on interviewing the crew. Despite the fact that the beginning of the preliminary investigation was fast-paced, it is an investigation that all in all is challenging and time-consuming, says Commissioner Sami Paila, who leads the investigation. The crew consists of 20 people from Georgia and India, and some of them are suspected of crimes. The crew has been cooperative even if the situation has been confusing for them, says Paila. The police have not yet decided whether to arrest them, as it could affect the operation of the ship. The ship is suspected of belonging to the Russian Shadow Fleet, which defies sanctions to transport Russian oil across the seas. Wow. Okay, so spy equipment to intercept NATO sea and air traffic. Absolutely insane. And on Friday, Sweden announced that it is strengthening its presence in the Baltic Sea. Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson also stated that he spoke with Finnish President Alexander Stubb and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte after the cable breaches. So this is the third cable that has been cut between Finland and Estonia. The first two were internet cables and communications cables, and this one was actually an electrical cable. So you see what Russia's trying to do. They're trying to isolate Estonia in the event of an invasion, okay? And the Estonian Defense Force is launching an operation in the Baltic Sea to protect the underwater cable Estlink 1. This is what the country's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Margus Tsanka, wrote on X. The announcement of the operation comes after the power cable Estlink 2 between Estonia and Finland was cut. The Estonian government, together with the country's defense chief, decided on Thursday to launch a naval operation. Early on Friday morning, the patrol boat Raju was sent to protect the submarine cable. This is to ensure that nothing happens there and to ensure that our critical connection with Finland remains operational, says Estonian Defense Minister Hanno Pevkur on Estonian radio on Friday morning. Wow. Okay, so this could potentially be the last cable connecting Finland and Estonia, and that's why they're deploying the Navy there to protect it. And here we actually have some pictures of this Russian tanker that was seized by the Finnish Coast Guard, okay? So it's just a regular oil tanker, and here's a closer look. You can see the Finnish Coast Guard, and I'm hearing these are actually Finnish special forces that boarded this ship, Okay, this is very, very serious, guys. And China was caught spying on U.S. phones again. China's Salt Typhoon cyber attack just hit a ninth U.S. telecom company. Hackers accessed private text calls and even identified owners of targeted devices. The attacks focus on government and political figures, especially in Washington and Virginia, using advanced methods to avoid detection. So you see what the Chinese are doing. They're hacking into phones belonging to VIPs, okay, government VIPs. That is very concerning. And China called on the U.S. to reflect on its dangerous actions in space after the U.S. Space Force stationed a unit in Japan for the first time. Zhang Zhaogang, a spokesman for the Defense Ministry, accused the U.S. of continuing to expand its space military capabilities, strengthening space military alliances, and provoking a space arms race, saying its actions have jeopardized global strategic stability. Earlier this month, a Space Force unit began operating out of Yokota Air Base in western Tokyo, the first such unit stationed in Japan. Okay, so China getting butthurt that the U.S. Space Force is now stationing an entire unit in Japan. And North Korean troops deployed in Russia's Kursk region are suffering heavy losses and being left unprotected by the Russian forces they are fighting alongside, according to Ukrainian President Zelensky. And a wounded North Korean soldier that was captured while fighting for Russia against Ukrainian forces has died from his injuries, according to South Korea's intelligence service. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky confirmed the soldier was critically injured and could not be saved. And according to John Kirby, North Korean troops lost 1,000 soldiers in a week fighting in Kursk. Some are actually committing suicide. And Ukrainian drone attacks led to a decrease in production at Russian oil refineries, according to the Moscow Times. The volume of oil refining is now 266.9 million tons in 2024, which is the lowest figure since 2012 when 265.4 million tons were processed. So the lowest volume of oil refining in Russia since 2012. And Ukraine is expected to lose all the territory it captured in Russia's Kursk region by the spring and will not be able to use it as a bargaining chip in future negotiations with Russia. This is being reported by Bloomberg, and Ukraine has already lost about half of the territory it captured in August. And U.S. intelligence says Russia mistook the Azerbaijani airliner for a drone. U.S. officials report that a Russian air defense system shot down the plane, misidentifying it as an incoming drone amidst heightened drone activity by Ukraine. Confirmation bias from recent drone attacks may have contributed to the tragic error, with Russian forces on high alert. Okay, so basically, their air defenses thought this was some kind of a drone and they shot it down. Absolutely insane. And the U.S. is going to send a $1.25 billion aid package to Ukraine. It will be officially announced next week. And Poland has begun mandatory firearms and survival training for kids in grade school. The Education for Safety program will create 1-hour weekly lessons conducted in school gymnasiums. The curriculum encompasses firearms handling, state security education, survival skills, tactical rescue, first aid, and cybersecurity. Students will also be taught how to assemble and disassemble weapons. The program is set to be rolled out across all 18,000 schools nationwide in Poland. Managed by the nation's Department of National Education, the program is designed to teach students how to deal with threats caused by warfare and the basics of tactical rescue. Other areas students will receive training in are mass accidents and disaster response, along with basic first aid and health education. So this is very serious, guys, okay? Poland is training teenagers on war, okay? How to handle firearms, tactical rescue, first aid, survival skills, okay? This is a sign that something is about to go down. And Israeli Channel 12 is reporting that Israel is planning for a massive campaign against the Houthis that will continue for several weeks. And earlier today, the US and the UK launched more airstrikes on Yemen. And Trump has asked the Supreme Court to halt a ban on TikTok in the United States. And Panama's president, Jose Raul Mulino, said on Thursday that he will not negotiate with Trump over control of the Panama Canal and denied that China was interfering in its operation. Mulino rejected the possibility of reducing tolls for U.S. vessels in response to Trump's threat to demand control of the vital waterway connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. There's nothing to talk about, Molino told a press conference. The canal is Panamanian and belongs to the Panamanians. There's no possibility of opening any kind of conversation around this reality, which has cost the country blood, sweat, and tears, he added. Wow. And what you're looking at here are the flight paths of some Russian Doomsday planes that were airborne late last night. What's interesting is one of them flew up from Moscow and came around back to Moscow. So this thing was scrambled into the air for some reason. And then another one was coming from St. Petersburg back to Moscow. Not sure what spooked it. And then here we have a U.S. Navy recon drone that is currently patrolling the coast of Iran, picking up targets probably for Israel if they're going to strike Iran's nuclear facilities or other facilities here. Okay, so this is very, very serious. What's interesting is Iran is going to be signing a strategic agreement of some kind with Russia on January 17th, literally just 3 days before Trump gets inaugurated. And my guess is it's going to be some kind of a military pact where if Israel or the U.S. strike Iran's nuclear facilities or military bases, then Russia would basically defend Iran. So this is very, very serious, and it's another sign that we're in the end times because Iran and Russia are part of the Gog-Magog alliance that attacks Israel during the tribulation period. Okay, Iran is named specifically in the Bible. Okay, Persia, it's named clearly in the Bible as part of the Gog alliance. Okay, so very serious. And then here we have a recon drone patrolling the border of North and South Korea. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news. I do have my 24/7 live stream up and running right now. So you can monitor our nuclear forces. You can hear some of those strange messages on the Russian nuclear forces. And I do check into the 24/7 stream periodically. The last couple of days I've been spending time with family, so I haven't had as much time to hang out in the live stream. But I will be back into the live stream after New Year's more frequently, and I am possibly planning some kind of a New Year's celebration. I'm not 100% sure exactly what I'm going to do, but if you have any suggestions, put it in the comments. I was going to do some kind of a New Year's live stream, and if anything happens, I will update you guys live, but just get prepared. We know that Russia is practicing an invasion of Finland and the Baltics. There's intelligence pointing to a massive invasion of the Baltics. I've been covering that for the last couple of years and warning you guys about this ever since the Ukraine war started. Okay, Russia wants a land connection to Kaliningrad, which is basically what Russia did in Ukraine. Okay, Russia formed a land bridge to Crimea, and they want to do the same thing in Kaliningrad, which would force them to invade NATO. Okay, and Putin is not afraid of NATO. Okay, especially under the current leadership of NATO and the current leadership of the U.S. If anything, he's going to do it before Trump takes office because he knows that Trump is going to rebuild the military, get rid of all the BS, all the woke BS, and he's going to make America's military strong again. And Putin doesn't want to deal with that, okay? He'd rather deal with Biden and the woke military rather than a strong American military. So get prepared, guys, okay? Make sure you have your bug out bags. Make sure you're staying healthy and staying fit, eating right, sleeping good, taking care of yourself. That's number one. Okay, read a lot of books, learn. Okay, learning and knowledge, these are things that are free and will never leave you. Get spiritually prepared. Make sure you have a fallout shelter for nuclear war. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.